Hi, everyone. Welcome to another episode of season two of Procurement Horizons. Every time we're speaking to new guests, we're bringing on some very different experiences, and this episode is no different. Today, I have with me an exceptional procurement leader who spent 25 plus years in the field and, grown from a buyer, much like you and I, to a CPO role. So that is Panos Anastasiou. Hello, Panos.
Hello, Richa. Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being here. It's always a pleasure to meet ex-PNG folks and see how they've been growing. So what's unique about Panos is he's super focused on business innovation. What I particularly like in his style is that he's very human centric in how he approaches leadership. That's the feedback people have for him, and you would experience that the first time you speak to Panos. Like he spent 25 plus years in Europe and North America across the likes of P&G, McCain, Abbott Labs, and leading teams of over 130. That's quite a remarkable trajectory, in 25 years.
I think, if anything, the biggest thing that describes me is that I'm human centric. That's the thing that you said that is very true about me. So it's not about how big the company is or how big the role is or the responsibility is. How much impact can you make to the professional and hopefully even the personal trajectories of individuals? So human centric with bigger teams for me is very meaningful because it helps me teach, grow, mentor, and educate others. That's what gets me up out of bed every morning, really.
That really resonates. And with your new role at Opella, which is a fast-moving consumer healthcare organization, you'll have a fantastic opportunity to keep doing more of that.
And it's
Congratulations on your new role.
I appreciate it. And it's an opportunity to do. I've always been a person of purpose. So Opella being in consumer health and Opella having a number of brands that I have also personally used, whether it's Dolipran, Mucosolvan, Buscopan, Dulcolax, Allergan. It's
Mhm.
it's an opportunity for me to go to a business that tries to improve individual lives in a very meaningful manner, really, whether it's on people's digestion, on people's health, whether it's on vitamin supplements. So it gives me one angle of how do I do something meaningful for the planet? And also the beauty of a bigger team is how do I do something meaningful for the people that I'm responsible for?
That is an excellent thought. Always the work we do when we can see the impact that it's creating on lives around us, that brings a different level of energy, which we see in you already, Panos. So when we talk about like career journeys, like I want to give you a chance, and it'll be quite valuable for all of us to know what do you think were some of the key turning points that you've seen in your career.
Um, so looking forward, when you look at a procurement career, is practically impossible, in my opinion. It all makes sense when you look back at it. So if I look at my 24 plus whatever years, I'm of Greek origin, so I started in supply chain in Greece, and I got lucky to land in procurement. Most of us really landed in procurement. We did not choose procurement.
Yeah.
And I was in Brussels interviewing with pharma companies because I had supply chain experience. And a P&G interviewer found me and interviewed me for procurement, and I had no idea what procurement was. I mean, the basics of you buy stuff to make the company run, yes, but I knew nothing else. And then I got hired, and then I did a buyer's job, and then what worked for me, so I landed in procurement randomly. I liked it very much because people say, what is unique about procurement? And for most of us, you included, if I dare use you as an example, we're very human centric, we're very interpersonal relationships. And procurement is, if I have to brag, it is the function that touches and talks to every other function. I would say more than any other function in any company, because we talk to R&D, we talk to quality, we talk to sales, we talk to finance, we talk to business development, we talk to operations, we talk to forecasting, we talk to everyone. There is no business unit or function that we do not talk to. and HR is embedded in what we do. So it's a great opportunity to be, for someone like me that always like to be a jack of all trades, master of none, frankly. It gave me an opportunity to talk to everyone. And because I was an anxious spirit and I was slightly incompatible in full transparency with P&G, my first senior director at the time almost fired me, and there's a story there.
Oh,
I have good and bad horror stories, which is what makes us humans and grow.
it does. It does.
But long story short, I got lucky, and every 2-3 years I changed an assignment. I did direct, I did more commodities, I did indirect, I did weird stuff like business process automation and machine learning at the time that we did not know what machine learning was. I did EU laws like GDPR and privacy and third-party risk management, and I dabbled in info security. So if you look at the squiggly career path, looking back, it makes sense because you've done direct and indirect. You've done corporate and you've done business unit. You've done hands-on and you've done people management. And then you land in a CPO job by luck, accident, whatever. I never thought, if you asked me 25 years ago, do you want to be a CPO? I'm like, can you eat it? That would be my question. CPO. And now that I'm a CPO, first of all, as you see, I don't take myself seriously, right? I don't carry the title and the badge and the stripe. I talk to Richa and I wear a cheap pullover. So now it makes sense because I have the experience and the confidence, and I have absolved all my imposter syndromes of deserve to be CPO. I do because I work for it. Did I plan for it? No. Will I enjoy it? Immensely. Why? Because I do it for others. Because it goes back to human centric. I do it for the people that surround me. It's not, I do not own the people. They're our team. I'm responsible for them. I'm there to give them the credit. And if things go bad, I'm there to take the bullet. That's why I always say, give the credit, take the bullet. Because it starts with you when things go wrong. And when things go right, it's most likely because of them, not you.
Wow. Wow. So that is quite a peek down your whole journey. And the best part of talking to you, Panos, and I should highlight it, is what I find really unique is that you share the parts, the vulnerable parts openly, and that is what people need now. The more real advice, because we've had enough fair dose of politically correct things. So yeah, much like you, yes, everyone I think has their own story of how they landed up in procurement. I'm glad to hear that you got into that role right from the beginning, because in my case it was like I started my career with PNG in supply chain. But yeah, later on I moved when I needed a location change, and procurement is the only job that I was getting offered in that new location, Mumbai. The plus of that is that's the only thing that I have kept consistent while moving 3 different continents, 4 different industries, and I kind of fell in love with it too.
There is a lesson that to younger people that are listening, try to change one thing at a time. Either keep the location, keep the company, change function. Keep the function, keep the company, change the location. Richa did 2 out of 3, so she made it a bit more difficult, frankly. But change one thing and keep the other constant, it's easier. Now, changing function, changing company, and changing location, you may be inviting a lot on your plate. Not that you cannot do it. It's just going to be more. There's going to be more adversity for sure.
It takes a toll. You're right about that. Those wrong steps that we take, they actually help us. Once we start seeing them in a different light, they help us learn something about ourselves, which we wouldn't have otherwise learned. So
I tell my kids, there is no loss. You never lose. You just learn. You lose, you learn. If you win or if you do something right, there's a good chance that you don't know why you did it right the first time. Right? What's the famous quote? Edison discovered 10,000 different ways of how not to make electricity and light a light bulb, and then 10,001 it worked. So all these lessons are useful for later. And it's the same for us. We make mistakes. We do the wrong thing, buy the wrong thing, do the wrong job, join the wrong company, work with the wrong people, and then we realize by knowing what you don't want and knowing what you don't want to do or you should not do again, then you gravitate to what is right for you. But it's very rarely that by luck or by happenstance you land and do the right thing the first time. Practically nobody does.
That's true. So now on that note, you've been offering some great advice to people who want to grow in procurement. So on that note, thinking about somebody who's early in the procurement stage, maybe 2, 3 years or within the first 5 years, and they have this ambition that they want to grow into a CPO role over time. Let's say they're just starting out and they want to get there quickly. And we've been talking a little bit about that. What would be your advice to those people?
Well, first of all, we need to consider they are going to be Generation Z, right? Because I'm between Millennial and Generation X. Richa, you're somewhere there. When we talk to
I'm
new people,
millennial too.
you're a Millennial. I'm slightly older. I'm on the cusp of Generation X to Millennial, but I also have a lot of X in me. Generation Z, if you look at it, they have a few things that can work very well for them in procurement, in my opinion, because they want different responsibilities. They like to shift around every 2 to 3 years. I don't think a Generation Z will wake up and say, I want to be CPO. They're probably going to say, I want something with purpose. I would like to see the world. I would like to do something meaningful. And if you land in a procurement career and you have the opportunity every 2 to 3 years to touch a different spend area, and do from direct to indirect, to do from commodities to abstract things like media and marketing, the more broad you become, the more qualified you are if and when you land in a CPO position. Because as the CPO, then as you companies have different CPO positions and we all have different types of spend varieties, etc. But you will have a direct and indirect. You will have some packaging. You will have some direct materials. You will have some type of commodities. You may have some media marketing spend. You will for sure have some IT infrastructure spend. You may have CapEx. You may have MRO. And I don't pretend to have touched all of those areas, but most of them I have some type of experience. Freight and logistics, warehousing, you name it. So to the younger person, be curious, be hungry in a good way, hungry to learn more. Never be satiated that you know everything, because you don't. I do not know everything. And eventually learn the areas you dabble in well enough that then it gives you the chance to learn another area, because procurement has a lot of transferable skills. Supplier analysis, industry analysis, market analysis, negotiation, e-auctions, system utilization, internal partner management, contract management, discussions with legal, in
Oh my
different business partners. Whether you've done all this for MRO or you do this for agencies, marketing agencies, yes, different stuff, but the core skill set is very transferable.
It is, it is. You're right. It's about the understanding the generation's perspective and how that has evolved over time. So great catch on that. It was the millennial era that used to say that, hey, I want to get there and what do I do now? The next generation is already smarter. Right? Gen Z, Gen Alpha, they're already asking the right questions. So
Yeah,
that's
they want
positive.
more purpose. They want to do things more meaningful. They don't care. We used to care more about, especially when we started, salary, title, career progression, speed of promotion, etc. I think Gen Z is very different. They have other challenges that they will need to overcome, whether it's ability to communicate with clarity, resilience, because sometimes they quit too early or they quiet
Yeah,
quit,
yeah, yeah.
and then critical thinking. Especially in an era of AI where you can have LLMs and agents do a lot of your groundwork. You need to be able to understand what you're getting from the system makes sense or it's a hallucination, and that needs critical thinking. And critical thinking comes from experience and mistakes. So
Yeah.
you need to have some adversity is a privilege, and that is what creates critical thinking.
That is true, and I think that's where like we offer as a function we offer this wide playing field, of different categories. That's the best part of our job, literally. Like we get to, as you said, like learn from different functions, but not just internally. We also learn at the external perspective. I don't think there's another function that can combine so many skills together, which prepares you for anything in life.
Procurement is probably and I would dare say challenge even sales. We are the most externally connected and driven function any company can have, because we talk to so many different suppliers in so many different places with so many different sizes and experiences and regions, that if you're a good procurement professional and you do your job properly, you're extremely good in the world.
That is the beauty. Awesome. So on that note, I know you talked about critical thinking, and I love that because that's the focus we want to have through this podcast to develop the skills for the future, and that's definitely one. I like what you said, Panos, about having those different experiences, and I also feel for the future generations and next generations of procurement leaders, it's always important to have interests outside of work, but I think that is becoming even more relevant, right? What are your thoughts on that? Also, about your journey. Have you used your external interests, and how has that supported you in your professional development? A lot of thoughts
Oh,
there, I know.
a lot of fun,
Yeah.
because it's also two different camps. Because one
Yeah.
is backward looking in terms of what worked for me, um, and to answer that pretty quickly, being insanely and innately curious about stuff, whether it's skiing, sailing, skydiving, video games. I have an amazing family unit. My wife is my best friend, my partner in crime, my soulmate. I mean, I would, yeah, you cannot take Panos without taking Sevi as part of the equation, right? And then our kids fall underneath in a good way as a family unit. And we were always very conscious about creating a family unit that is good human beings that try to develop themselves and others. So that is what worked well for me as being an interesting person, or at least having a lot of interest that people are curious about. Is like, why do you jump out of planes? Why do you do CrossFit? Why do you ski with the kids? Why do you do windsurfing? Why were you a semi-professional sailor in Greece? So these are all hooks to drive conversation and open people up, which then gives me good opportunities to talk to suppliers from a different angle. But it also makes me very humane as a people manager and as a person, as an individual coach and leader, because I bring, as I talk to Rich, and you know it very well, I bring my true self wherever I am. No masks, no pretending. I am fallible. People know me. I've said it many times. I call myself an utter idiot. I'm a moron, and then I start from there. And I have no ego, or I've managed to kill my ego and my pride very frequently. So um,
Hmm.
that's question number one. The question number two on the future, procurement future. Uh, I have nothing that keeps me up at night. I sleep like a baby, or like a 45-year-old baby. But what I do think pretty frequently
Um,
is, what does the function look like in 3 to 5 years? Um, there is no 10 and 15-year horizon. Like Chat GPT launched in November 22, that was 3.5 years ago, and we've seen dramatic shifts in technology and things that happen. And you had Joel, who I like, who's a friend in your podcast, and some excellent points about what's happening in the procurement technology space.
yes.
Um, our function, I think, will flatten. Hierarchies will flatten out. A lot of the crappy work that we do at times, and we all do crappy work, POs, PR approvals, price reconciliations, all this with the right intake and orchestration and source to pay suites, will go away. So if you design the process properly and then you put the right tools on it, some of it AI and some of it just automation, a lot of the 90% of the crap is out. And then you get left with the more interesting things of, what type of innovation do we want? From which suppliers? How do we bring it in? What are the best players that give us the most competitive advantage if we're very cost driven? How do we pay our suppliers properly so then we can extend payment terms? How do we do cash flow augmentation by, financing? And bringing other banks to actually pay the suppliers faster, but we pay the banks later, so we do supply chain financing. And then in 5 years, and this is really far, it may be in 3, a category manager is an orchestrator of how spend flows through the company. So you look at your intake and orchestration, and you intercept it at the right place as a business need through tools. You have your flow across how it goes into the right categories to actually go to the right players. Ideally, the right players are already established in your ecosystem, most of them, and you're there to make sure the right spend goes to the right partners. And then you do a lot of the innovation and new supplier discovery work that you bring in to put at the end of your ecosystem when you need new things. And I painted a very mature and ideal picture. It's either that or we've become house cats and we all serve an AI master.
Like we hope that humans stay smart enough to know where to draw the lines. Yeah, like that's really different aspects together, and I like I think it kind of conveys to me the importance of bringing your whole self to what you do. I don't say bringing your whole self to work, because like I know that you have to it's good what you want to do, but you also have to adapt to your environment and people around you. But I feel like you have to use everything that you've got, and that's what I take away from your answer, that you've managed your personal life in a way that like that gives you joy, that adds meaning to your lives, and you have these other interests, wide variety of interests that actually help you bring that courageous thrill seeker mindset, which is important for innovation. We have to be very creative, and at times we have to work through our own. One thing you said at the beginning was work through my imposter syndrome tendencies, because this is important. How much do we let our ego get in the way? Because it does get in the way of learning new things. And the important thing is we acknowledge that, we accept that, and we move through that. Thank you for sharing all of those insights, Panos. So as a CPO, what do you think when you are starting your new role? What would be your key focus areas right now?
It's a fantastic question. So first of all, I have a detailed answer on a LinkedIn article, so people, you can go and find a very detailed answer there. But to make it short, you need to know the people. In the beginning, it's all about people. It's the internal partners. It's the person that you report to. I don't like to call levels, but at my level is about learning the executive C-suite and who is doing what and what are their priorities, their preferences, in what spotlight do they see procurement, what do they like about procurement, what complaints or problems they have with procurement, because you need to be able to gain credibility for yourself and the function and figure out what are the roadblocks that you can enable them to dissolve by doing things differently as procurement for them. So that is one part of the equation. The other part of the equation is getting to know your team. Who are they? Where are they? What are they? Their experiences, their backgrounds, their capabilities, their strengths and weaknesses, their ambitions, their imposter syndromes. How have they reached who they are? Where do they want to go? So that's pillar number 2. And then pillar number 3, technology. Systems, processes, policies, tools. What do we have in place? Why do we have this in place? Where are we on the maturity curve of the spectrum as a function, from extremely mature to level 5, extreme business partner? And there is subcategory. So you need to find where you are. And then as a new CPO, so this is all for me intrinsic. It's for me to absorb and to learn. Before I joined Opella, as I was preparing for it, I created an Excel file with like 300 different one-line item questions across different areas I wanted to discover. But I showed the Excel file to nobody. Because if I show you the Excel file, you'll be like, Panos is crazy. He's coming with a 400 Excel file questionnaire to actually interview us. I'm like, yeah, no, that doesn't work for people. I have it for my own sanity and nobody else. But when you discover all this, then you need to make, and this is not my idea, I heard it somewhere else. You need to make small adjustments. There is two, usually CPOs tend to err in two areas. Either they come in and do everything as per status quo and they try to change nothing because they don't want to rock the boat, they don't want to scare the people, they want to keep moving in one direction. Frankly, it's also easier. You just keep doing things as they are. Or they go the extreme opposite approach of like, I am new, I need to prove who I am, I need to show my ego, I need to show my worth, I will change everything. Whatever you guys were doing before me was Noah's Ark, which is wrong. It's a balance. Most of the things you will find work. The organization used to work before you were there. There's a couple of things that probably need change. How do you convince your team that these are the right things to change without them feeling you're throwing the baby with the bathwater outside the window? And gentle, love and contribution. If you show that you love them and you care, and we do it for us as procurement, but also for us as a business, so we drive value for the business, then it's easier to do it. Or at least that's what I think.
That is an excellent answer. You've covered all the ground, and I see a lot of focus on listening and understanding and helping people be better versions of themselves. So I like that thinking. And then, yes, the focus on technology is essential. It's something we cannot avoid. What I really like is you're ready to bring people along and take things at a slower pace, which is exactly what we need.
It's
So,
human-centric. I mean,
Panos,
it's your tag. You used it at the beginning of the podcast. Human-centric approach. In an age of AI, do things with people first. Augment them with AI, but put people first. And then things will be okay.
Now, Panos, I have a little bit of a trick question for you. This is a trick question because you're going to be in this role, and there'll be a lot of people who'll want to be a part of your team, or who are going to be a part of the team already. Share with us your thinking around what do you look for, the skills or behaviors that you appreciate.
It's a fantastic question. And yes, hopefully we will grow with Opella and we will recruit because the business will grow and then procurement will grow. So if people want to ping me for a job, or if we advertise jobs, please apply. Put in the caveat. I look for humans. That's the, I look for people with curiosity. I look for people that want to contribute to themselves and to the whole. I look for people that are not afraid to do mistakes. I've made multiple mistakes in my career. I mean, I almost got fired, jumped out of a plane and broke my spine. I've done stupid stuff many times. So if people are not perfect, so people that come in an interview and present themselves perfect, I do not like. That does not exist. I wrote somewhere else, I'll show you my open wounds where I need help. Show me your scars. Show me where you've bled and where you've suffered and what you've learned from your scars, because the deeper the scar is, the more I know I have a human that has survived and grown and has done something, and you can help me with your scars to fix my open wounds. Because every company has problems and issues and stupid politics and difficult personalities. There is no greener pasture, etc. We're just all wrong in some shape or form. So I look with people that are honest, authentic, curious. Experience is important, but experience gets you through the door. If you talk to me, someone has vetted your resume and knows you've done similar jobs in the past and you can do the role we're asking you to do. Do you fit? Are you a good human? Are you gonna augment our team internally to be better? Can we make you better by bringing you inside? Are you gonna be supportive and loyal? Not blindly loyal, but as we want you here and we will have your back. I will not hire
Mm.
you unless I know I will have your back, and I will be there to take the bullet for you. Are you going to
Wow.
do the same? No, not take the bullet, but are you going to support us and be part of the pillar of the foundation of what we're building? If yes, I want
Mm.
you. If you want to be if you want to be on your own and do your own thing and be opinionated and judgmental and know it all and aggressive and ambitious, but to the point of stupid ambition where you throw other people under the bus to do your ambitions, I don't want you here. You will not fit. I will eat you alive. Sorry, because I'm a super nice person. I'm very happy-go-lucky, etc., and I'm very trusting. And I'm, in the trust phase, I'm the person that extends blind trust, and I've gotten backstabbed multiple times in the back, and I do not mind. But the moment you cross me and I realize you're not a good human being, then Houston, we have a problem, and good luck to you because I'm gonna put you on a rocket ship.
Wow, no words minced there for sure. Thank you for being so honest and transparent. I love the fact about show me your scars. That could be something that people are going to take away. I have done those mistakes. I've seen there's this pressure. Everybody is saying politically correct, perfect things about themselves. You feel the inclination to do that, but you don't feel good inside when you're doing that. So I learned this the hard way. Showing your scars is the better way to go, and what you learned out of it. It takes practice. There's definitely when you're a part of a group and you see that as a normal human instinct to hide our scars, you want to do that. That's why I do all of this writing and sharing my journey so openly. So yeah, I appreciate your thoughts there. And by the way, I just want to share this, with people that Panos is very active on LinkedIn. He's been sharing 2-3 times a week his thoughts, and it's always something that, you're going to take away and think about. So please do give him a follow if you're not already doing that. I have one last question for you. You mentioned about jumping out of a plane and breaking your spine like it was just a regular thing. But I had breakfast today. Panos, that seems like it would have been quite a journey, right? And we would love to hear about that if you're willing to share more, because I feel like mid-career professionals, they all face some kind of setbacks, and we all have this tendency of trying to hide our scars and appear okay. And yeah, like those are the kind of moments, watershed moments that bring you to reality. Yeah.
It's For me, it's impossible to hide my scars because if you look me walking out, so backtrack. I was an avid skydiver. I had more than 300 jumps. I was a pretty good skier, massive CrossFitter, and blah blah blah. I had a lot of taglines of what defined me. But if you go to skydiving, I jumped out of a plane, normal day, fifth jump of the day, had a really bad landing, my mistake, nobody else to blame, no bad wind, no other people involved. I just did the wrong thing and could have died. I hit the ground pretty hard from whatever it was, 5 meters to 20 feet. I put my feet forward to save my face because my brain was more important than my legs. One leg broke, the other leg did not break, and it broke my spine. I literally, I was on a field fully paralyzed from the waist down.
Yeah.
And for people that are curious, you can hear your spine break and feel it. It's a very weird feeling. You actually hear the thump and you feel it inside, and you know you did some really bad damage. Fast forward, because it's 3 years of misery and suffering. And I was 4 surgeries. I have a lot of metal parts inside. I was in rehab. They had to put me together. Um, I didn't have sensation and movement for a number of months. There was a good chance I would be. I almost practically died, but that's a different story. Um, they had to transport me from a Greek field, bleeding somewhere else, to patch me up. Um, and there was a good chance I would be a full-time paraplegic. And what a complete paraplegic is a person that has no feeling from the waist down. Um, I'm pretty stubborn. I chose not to give up. I chose not to stay in bed. I chose to put myself in extreme rehab. and work hard. I tried, and to be clear, this was not easy. I had my dark days, and I had a lot of psychotherapy and psychology help. I had, for a good period of time, I was in deep depression. Also, I was fighting hard to get out of physical issues and spinal cord injuries. If because I'm a big advocate of people with special abilities, because I'm one of them now. You touch your spinal cord, you touch everything. People see me and they think I'm a car that has a banged up door. But you touch the neurons of your spinal cord, electricity, neural pain, temperature misregulation, bowel, bladder, sexual function, inability to do things, heat
Yeah.
stuff, cold stuff, weird sensations. Long story short, 3 years, I've gone through the wheelchair journey. I went through the walker journey. I used to walk with 2 crutches. I'm now walking with 1
Uh,
crutch. I'm going to Germany for stem cell injections because I'm looking at experimental therapies, because at the end I'm a buyer and I look for stuff that will help me. So is it easy? No. Does it make me a better person? Absolutely. Because there comes a time in your life where you look at the thing and it's like, would I trade all the suffering I had and all the still physical issues I have to go back to 4 years ago to my previous self? And the answer is no, because I've learned so much, I gained so much. And I became a better person, a better father, a better husband, a better people manager, a better friend, a more compassionate and caring human being because of that suffering. Is it easy? Absolutely not. Is it worth it? If you suffer with meaning, yeah, it's worth it.
I don't know what to say. It must have been so excruciating and for a period of 3 years for you and your family. And it's wonderful to see that you've come out of it stronger and there's still a lot of things that you're dealing with. But I do agree with you that it shows in how you treat people, how you share about your journey. I can only wish you bigger and better things. We need more of that. Thank you for being brave enough to share. I know it's not easy. It helps everyone by sharing. It lightens, you also get people get to see the person behind the role. More importantly, it gives inspiration to a lot of us. I mean, I wish I had heard the story a few years ago, because I was looking for real people around, and like I had to go pick up books and find how people did certain things, and that's why this makes it so touching.
Thank you. We all have our own suffering. Every single one of us has one mountain that we're climbing at any point in time. The fact that my mountain is pretty visible to others because you'll see me and you'll ask doesn't mean that Richa and others, because I share my story very openly. I have met cancer survivors. I have met people that have overcome suicidal tendencies. I have met people that have gone through severe psychological traumas. Um, and I share very openly because every one of us has something that we're fighting. We all have our own little demons and dragons under the carpet or under the bed. The more we talk about them, the smaller they become.
Yeah, and it also helps us creating more safe spaces, right? The more we talk, we find the right people.
There,
Good.
there
So
is
thank.
there's another
Yeah.
saying that says, we're all crazy in some shape or form. We're all deluded. We're all crazy village people. The more real crazy you are, you will find your crazy village that you belong in. So just keep talking about it.
That is true. Thank you. We are all so excited for you for starting your new role and for everything that you're going to do, not just for procurement, but for the people around. I'm sure everybody will gain a lot from you wherever you go, Panos. It's been an honor to have you here. And I wish there's more spaces where we can talk what's really bothering us and be more open about our scars.
And to anyone listening to this, if you're going through similar things and you want a crazy person to talk to, if I can help one more person manage adversity, my job my purpose in life is done. Let's help one more person. Let's be one more human. That's all we need to do.
Thank you.